Much better.
Dune, and I don't want to give the copy away now. I am such a fan of, you know how sometimes there'll just be a story and you just needed it told to you the right way, like a joke you didn't get until you got it, like one of those epiphanies in science where there's an understanding. You go, oh, that's how math works. I now get what people love about Dune, and it's taken a book and one of the worst movies that's ever been made ever to get to now. And they fixed everything in however many hours this took. And all I want to do is gush.
Awesome.
I was like, every time you told me you did like Dune, I was like, but you love Star Wars. And George Lucas got the Jedi shit is because of the voice. It's
so there's a lot of this movie does a really good job. I'll say this first and foremost, of reminding you how much is derivative of Frank Herbert's Dune, right?
Yeah.
Like they intentionally are they're giving you the voice, they're giving you all the way up to the one. And it's every trope that's ever been, you go, this is where this has all been pulled from. This is the source material. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the nods to that in this film. That was pretty damn cool to just be like flagrantly, hey, that shit you love, we did it first.
So that terrible movie that you hate is one of the few unterrible memories I have of my father, because we would sit around on Saturday and watch that stupid fucking movie.
Oh my God. That's like saying that's like the fond memory I have of Germany is the accordion. That's just not.
Best part of Germany was 1944.
Yeah, that's exactly. No, I don't understand that.
We loved it, but I was a little, it doesn't matter.
Were you trapped watching it, and he came in and rescued you from watching it? Is that the fond memory?
So I had read those books as a kid. I told you that my grandma just gave me this box of books, and it was like Isaac Asimov, Frank Herbert, and it was just. And I read all these things that I probably was not ready for, emotionally, because some of Asimov's work gets really out there in Bradbury.
Yeah, and to be honest, Dune's a little rapey. If you,
yeah, well, especially in the book, it's the Baron.
Yeah.
Anyways, regardless, I went into this not wanting to like it. I didn't want to like it. I'm just irritated with remakes. Just make a new goddamn movie. I don't care what it's about. Make it about Pop-Tarts. Make a new goddamn movie.
I usually hang my hat on that, Jerry. That is my.
Okay. Well, then we're in agreement. That shit drives me crazy.
Chase and Sam have heard me talk till I'm blue in the face about being done with remakes and being done with but mainly. My problems with those are they keep trying to remake stuff that was really, really good the first time. And this didn't fall in that category. I was like, you know what? Maybe this time around. Because I really didn't.
It didn't fall in that category for you. See, I love the creepy old David Lynch fucking weirdo movie. I really do.
Say what you want about that movie. The David Lynch one, I thought, has the perfect soundtrack. Like when I read the book, I had to play the David Lynch movie soundtrack in the background. That got me through the book.
A lot of synth, and I can see I can see the allure. There's something culty and pop culture.
Yeah, that's all. It's just a guilty pleasure. It's something
a guilty pleasure. And I love the wooden walls. Yeah.
But the way the way this is shot, it's first of all, it's so fucking majestic.
Yes.
That scene where the ship door opens and there's a carpet the size of a football field in there.
Yes.
But it's comical. It's so big. It's
the scale of the world
at the same time. Like, why the fuck would you produce a carpet that size?
Right.
But incredible. It's
and roll it out in the rain. It's
and I have some problems, as far as what the movies have always done with it. It's like, oh, there's spice. There's this stuff that if you live around it and you smoke it or inhale it and eat it all the fucking time, your eyes turn blue and you live longer and you have all these hallucinations and you can live in the desert and shit. Or we can use it to navigate the stars. And nobody goes, well, this is what we're fucking doing to navigate the stars. It's just, what?
Though, but hang on though. That comes from an era when you didn't have to over explain everything, right? That helped you navigate the stars the same way we knew how the Force worked after those 3 movies. We didn't know jack shit. It wasn't until later when our demanding Gen X asses started wanting answers, and they gave
questions.
us and then they gave us midi-chlorians, and we should have shut the fuck up. That's what we should have done.
You're right.
No more questions from us.
So I will accept that you just get high off spice or can fly spaceships with it. I like to just call it the crude oil because that's what it feels like through the whole fucking thing. But the casting was so terrible. I didn't want to like the cast, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Who are they? Is that Oscar Isaac?
Oscar Isaac was remarkable.
He fulfilled this. I'll tell you what I loved about this one is the casting of Jessica. Lady Jessica was so much more realistic to me, and it felt so much more warm. And I felt like her and her son really had this bonded relationship, like they really understood each other.
In the first
more
movie,
so than in the first.
Did they in the first movie? And I'm rustier on it than I am on this one, certainly. But they didn't really play up their relationship too much, right? It was mainly just about
she was
Paul.
Just this cold Bene Gesserit kind of. They called her the concubine, and she was just this kind of witchy woman with a crazy ass hairdo. But this, like, you actually believe she was his mom. You believe. So if you know about the Bene Gesserits, they can determine what sex their baby is. They can do all that, make all that happen. That's why they told her you were only supposed to have girls.
Right.
She made the decision to have a son.
See, I just want to point out that I can't hear Bene Gesserit without hearing it in Matthew Broussard going Benny and the Jets. And now I just hear Bene Gesserit. Anyway, carry on.
They probably have mohair suits.
That's
it's incredible, spectacular. I didn't want to. I fell in love with it. I watched it on HBO Max. I sat down and started watching it again because I was so. And this is how good it was. I was thirsty the whole time I was watching this fucking movie. I kept refilling my water because I was like parched, looking at the fucking sand and shit,
burning those emotional calories. Yeah, yeah, dude. They did such a good job of the majesty of the desert. Like, it was a character. It was a
living thing.
Well, it's also, as a cinematographer, it's not an easy thing to shoot and not have it look flat, right? You gotta, that's the right angles and the right shadows and the right, whoever color corrected that. The whole movie had this this sepia tone to it that just, everything felt brown and yellow and gold and deep, dark, rich colors. And to be that consistent across the board for every time that when they went to the other Harkonnen, all the different planets, each one would have a different real aesthetic feel to it. And that's
Guidey Prime was so cool because it looked like everything you imagine it to be, but then the structures on Harkonnen, they looked like the Harkonnen architecture and shit. So you could like tell they had been there for a long time, and it was
the production design on that was just stellar.
He told the story with so much less dialogue, which it's like you were with the narrator thing. It's so much less dialogue, but it still conveys the warmth of the characters. It still conveys I didn't know Batiste knew how to act. I was so fucking psyched to see Drax, and then Drax was amazing.
He was great.
I love Brolin. I don't know what made him make the decision to play this as Blade Runner's Rutger Hauer. It was so wooden and weird when he does that line about the sands and the air and time. Like, did you just remember that was your line, motherfucker?
He was inspired by Patrick Stewart's Shakespearean character in the holodeck on Star Trek The Next Generation. That's how to be or not to be. It's just a little absurd. I thought the boldest one was shifting the narration from some princess in the future, like the book and the first movie did. Like, it was being narrated in a history class, to it be it whatever Zendaya's character, who part of the not the oppressing culture, part of the kind of repressed culture. And to me, I thought that was really cool because it made you question the House of Trade. You know what I mean? Like you went, oh, maybe they're not just, because the 70s were all black and white. We are the good guys. We are the bad guys.
Yeah.
And all the bad guys laughed and they looked like skeletons. That's how everything worked in the 70s. Now we like everything to be a little anti-hero, right? You got to have
murky.
Some dirt on your.
The great houses are murky at best, but even House Atreides is.
But in the first,
Bene Gesserit certainly murky at best. They're
right.
Secret,
but in the
socio-political shadow force pulling strings, playing puppet master all across the Imperium.
But in the first movie, House Atreides is not really ever presented as the bad guy at all. Like they don't have any. No morally area.
They're kind of like this coven of witch type shit. It's not really. They don't get too deep into how they actually pull the strings and make the things happen. So
70s, no answers,
dude. Yeah, I mean, for Jason Momoa, Duncan, Idaho, dude, solid.
Yeah, they gave you that Han Solo character and killed him off real quick. But man, it was great.
Yeah, how did he? Where he stops that dart from going into him, and you see it jacking with his shield right before he moves.
I like how just the whole movie. He starts out with this his beard just kept getting smaller and smaller. And when he died, he was an elf. Like it was just,
he become full Freeman.
He has like no facial hair by the end.
I didn't even recognize that was Javier Bardem until like halfway through the flick. I kept going, oh man, this dude remind me of John Winchester. And then I realized it wasn't him. It was it's his twin. It's like I was like, oh no, this is the cow killer guy from No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, I didn't think this movie would be filmable in any way like this at all, like without a narrator, like without any of this stuff, but they managed to do it, and they managed to explain things without holding your hand. Like there was no hand. It didn't feel like there was any hand holding. You know what I mean? Making Paul sort of the everyman that people relate to. You know what I mean? Seeing things through his eyes. They gave you just enough to piece it together. And I couldn't believe, as much as I like Star Wars and all these other things, this movie, something about it really nailed the different cultures that all these different people had, and you felt it. Like you felt the way the Harkonnens talk to each other. It was like aggression. Like that's the way they speak to each other. They talk to each other like WrestleMania guys giving that WrestleMania speech on the camera.
There's something to go ahead.
All three of you, we've all read the book, right? You read the book, Chase, years ago or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, definitely up to the point where the movie was at. So I'm like, I don't think I probably finished it, but I got it.
How much more terrifying was Stellar Skarsgård Baron? The way he floated up off that table and those robes draping down like 9 feet, it made him such this imposing, just giant. And that Apocalypse Now fucking nod scene where he's like rubbing his head. And
very Brando. Very Brando. I like, and this is what I believe in the simplicity of storytelling. So back to what we were talking about, that 70s kind of version, what they did keep alive, they murked it up in the way that it's still human, right? You give us a different narrator, it makes you question your hero a little bit more. But at its core, everything is really basic, tropey, good or bad, right? Like it's this planet feels aggressive and it's like the Klingons originally were. You're just like, this is who you are. They're supposed to represent
the bad guys.
Yeah, the bad guys. And each one of those little instances, I'm down for that purity. And they take their nice little sweet time explaining it all. And they don't ever really have to. That's why it doesn't feel so forced. It's in a world that is believable. They're just explaining, hey, here's how it works. We're not going to give you a bunch of we didn't write 6 books worth of lore that we're going to cram into your head. We're just hey, here's the basic explanation. Is that enough to move the story along? Let's go. We got story.
And you're right. It's so lean and it's just enough to move the story along. There was a part in there where I'm like, this movie, almost feels very alien, the way that it's kind of edited and cut together, and the pacing of it. There's a scene where they crash the thropter, and Paul is like, whenever we get out, just run towards those rocks, right? Any normal movie, when it crashes, there's going to be a scene of the guy like waking up, looking at his mom. Are you alive? Are you okay? And then, you know what I mean? Like, they skipped all that. It just cut to them outside. You know what I mean? Already going. I'm like, it was so refreshing. So much of it was refreshing.
It's when you don't have, when you make a decision to not do, this is where I think like Game of Thrones ran into its worst problems, was you got to the end, and it's the same thing that happened with Lost, except J.J. Abrams just went, fuck it, I'm not going to finish some of those stories. But you can get too many different types of beans in the chili, right? You go, you know what? We're never going to get to all this. We gotta keep it stripped down. Creating a world that's only showing us like really 3 or 4 races and, points of view in the Empire, that's not overly complicated. Giving us a kind of binary good and bad on the planet surface, that's all swallowable stuff. And as long as you stay within those bounds, I don't have to keep up with a bunch of crazy shit or have to worry about you trying to close 10 different stories in the last possible second, race into a finish like they did in Game of Thrones. It's like, no, this is casual. I'm in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I honestly, just like y'all are saying, I honestly think that anybody, if they haven't read the book, if they haven't seen the first movie, if they just went, hey, I'm gonna go check out the sci-fi flick, they're there. They're gonna be fine at the end of it. They're waiting on the next one. And they know kind of the rule of the day.
My brother's critique on it, he goes, he had no concept of it at all going into it, and his only critique was that he wanted more. He's like, I wanted to understand the world more. I wanted to be told more. And that's a huge compliment if you're not a fan to say something like that. I'm curious what the kickback is from people who are fan. You were a fan, Jared. So for the people who are kind of purists,
I didn't think I was going to like it. And like I said, I fell in love with it. And I'm really pissed that the second one's not going to be here till 2023.
Right. What would the complaint be though? What would people's arguments be? What was not there?
I think there's a complaint to be made that there is less told about the interpersonal stories between the Harkonnens and the Emperor. But you have to understand that first flick encompassed both the whole book.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot more covered in that. So I think that's the only complaint you can make, is that one of my real good friends, who of course loves the stuff and everything, he said that he felt like he watched the intro for the real movie.
Wow.
And so I get, but his favorite part, of course, the Muad'Dib and the revolution, and that's where it really picks up in the second movie. But that's because you watch a lot of slow shit in the first movie.
Well, the Fremen don't even show up until like they're deep into the first movie, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In the first movie, there's a lot of slow build and political story and bullshit that you got to watch, which is what we all just watched, but told in a much more exciting manner.
Yes.
And stripped down with a lot of the details you don't need. I don't give a fuck how long the Emperor's been Emperor. You know what I mean? You don't need a lot of that stuff. So they stripped a lot of that out. And so that was how he kind of came at it. And I was like, man, I love you to death. I completely disagree with you. I'm just on the edge of my seat waiting for the next one.
Yeah.
Based on the way this film, from the Lawrence of Arabia setting and this beautiful living desert being a part of the thing. And they push things along, like you said, with dialogue. There's a scene where they're rescuing the fucking the harvester, right? And they never do the spice must flow. But when he hollers out, when Leto Atreides and they're trying to evacuate those men, he hollers out, I don't give a shit about the spice or whatever. And everybody's head almost falls off. It's still that the spice must flow. You get that like sense of urgency, like, oh fuck, they got to get back on track or the Emperor's going to have them murdered.
Well, that scene, before they even, as they're getting ready to take off, when they first meet what's her name? The diplomat. But but when they're first getting ready to go out there the first time, they're talking about how much of that they have to fill up and how frequently.
The standard cubes.
And
Yeah.
and how you can see how sabotaged it is and how many of those things are missing. And they do a good job of painting that as like a pretty urgent setting.
Sabotaged, bleak.
It just doesn't stay at the forefront of the plot for long.
And having like never seen an ornithopter represented that way, but that's the way that they should be in my mind, and I'll never see them another way.
These are my two complaints. These are my two complaints. One, that is the most energy inefficient way to create lift.
But it's amazing.
In the history of engineering. That would be shot out of every single. I don't even know how it made it through as evolutionarily, biologically as far as it did. It's just an energy inefficient way to create lift. Two, they say that the swords, right, the whatever blades, are from the tooth of the blades. Yeah, they're from the tooth of the. I keep wanting to say the white.
Well, some are made from teeth of sandworms.
But that's what I mean. They're sandworm teeth, right? And aren't sandworm teeth like the size of those harvesters, or are they just taking like the teeny tiny little tip off the sandworm tooth?
Yeah, well, it's probably a process.
Baby sandworm tooth, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe there's just like a sandworm tooth forge in the back of the seat.
Yeah.
See, I don't know how
and
you.
There's some dude back there heating them up and hammering them down into something usable.
Does he have to lug an entire 35-foot tooth back to the sharpen it? I want to know how they
set up a Delta planer and they're running it through.
Yeah, exactly. Because it looks like it's got root and tip on it in the when it's a sword. So I'm guessing it came from a baby. Is my unless you go out and you kill your own, but then you can't kill it. You can't kill your gods, right?
I'm thinking it came from whoever was like, we need to make some money off of this. Make me some kind of sword bullshit I can sell.
Oh, that's like the way they're selling jade dragons outside the Forbidden City. They're just
we need merch.
On this rock?
We need merch. That's all it is. They need some fucking merch.
The same dude selling those spinny light things.
Oh my god. I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't watch the what's the G.I. Joe movie that just came out? The
Snake Eyes?
I mean, we got like so many Snake Eyes in this movie, bro. They were fucking amazing. You know what I mean? I'm like, white ninjas? I'm done, bro. This is great.
Oh, those people, the way they jump up out of the sand and do those sand attacks. I
got Crouching Tiger vibes when they floated down like all slow. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is the shit that I'm talking about.
The anti-grav tech was cool. The shield tech, the way they did it with the red and blue, simplified it. Again, it's another process that remember the way the 70s ones looked? Oh, but I mean, it was just, and you couldn't explain that. Like trying to explain the way they worked has always been a failure to me. It was always so unswallowable. And this is just like, oh, there you go. That makes perfect sense.
It's magic.
Yeah.
You got a thing on, it turns on, it stops shit.
Yeah, I think one thing too, like that I really liked is just, and you guys were talking about this earlier, but just the efficiency of the way that there's I like knowing as a fan of anything, like whether it be a comic book or anything, I like knowing that in the movie, the stuff in the book happened, even if you don't talk about it, make me believe that it happened in the background. The characters just aren't addressing it. That's what was so great about even Thor Ragnarok. Like they were able to make jokes and say things in a line, but it was a dense movie. If you sit back and look at how much information it gave you, it delivered it through jokes. But that's what made that so brilliant. Like even in this, there's a scene where the Baron is like, you know, our family has like been at each other for years or whatever. Like
all the blood.
I didn't need the blood. Right. I didn't need to know everything that happened. I'm like, good. The way you just said it for me, I got it. You guys are Hatfields and McCoys. Done. Yep. Next. You know what I mean? Like,
that's Mr. Dick says in the chat. He goes, when they make the water of life, they kill a baby sandworm. The knives come from their teeth. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, that took the mystery away. I like my version with the planers and shit.
That's this old tooth.
I was so divorced from reading. That's so funny. I had read it so long ago that just I was still surprised at some things like when like when Kynes or whatever, I think that was her name, whenever she saw the people riding the sound, I'm like, oh, she's about to ride on one of these motherfuckers. Dude. And then they got her. I was like, oh man, are you kidding me, bro? Like it was such.
And I thought that was a cool touch to have the water come out when she got stabbed. Yes. That was a very brilliant choice.
Yeah.
The scene that Chase was talking about where Leto's, Duke Leto's jacked up in the chair and Harkonnen's sitting in his kitchen, sitting there, and he's like, you got a good kitchen, cousin. And it's like when you're sitting in a man's kitchen picking through his food while he lays beat at the table, that's defeat. That is conquering force. That is whoa. That's
I thought
shit right there, man.
They did a great job of displaying him as grotesque without the same. I feel like David Lynch did it in the most obvious cheaty way.
It was a cartoon character.
It was, yes, and it was lesions and this and that. And I get it, but this was a scarier version to me. But there was like cold, dead eyes.
Yeah. I felt like I was watching Vincent D'Onofrio in The Cell, bro. Yes, like I love that. You know,
that's
what I wanted. That's what I wanted, bro. You know what I mean? And I'd watched I didn't, growing up, Dune wasn't my movie. I watched it much later in life when I worked in a video store. And but I had friends that grew up watching it, and they always told me about Chaw and stuff like that. My probably childhood movie that I watched with my family that I don't know if it holds up or not, and I don't want to know, was Krull.
I swear to God, I knew you were about to say that.
You're sitting there shitting on this guy. I'm like, bro, Krull? But here's the thing about Krull. To this day, fuck quicksand, bro. I don't want to be anywhere near quicksand thanks to Krull.
Krull had
Beastmaster did quicksand for me.
Beastmaster was my jam.
Fuck ferrets, fuck quicksand.
That's and those green monsters that turned you into snot or whatever. That was in the arms and Beastmaster. That was all that 70s sci-fi was just pulling from a community library of weird tropes and stuff. And it was, if you grabbed enough leather wings and naked women and animals.
I had a VHS tape that had my grandmother had made it for me, and it had Labyrinth, and it had Dune, and it had Barbarella on it. Is that Barbarella? Is that the one? And Duran and Jane Fonda?
Yeah, I think so.
I was
briefly thinking of Xanadu for something, or Xanadu.
Yeah.
Xanadu was a video game. Xanadu was
Barbarella's the one where they got to teach them how to fuck the old school way to bring back society or something.
That's so funny.
There's like a hunter named Duran in there that he knows the old ways.
Oh wait, that is where Duran got their name, right?
Yes, yes.
And Barbarella makes me think of Prince. So, all right, well, an influential film that is it porn?
Almost. It is
nice.
I will tell you this: a 12-year-old Pentecostal boy from East Texas found a lot of joy in that flick.
That's good for you, Grandma.
Yeah,
I love it.
It brought me a level of sexual maturity I had not yet earned of my own stripe.
That was funny. And I was a Jennifer Connelly fan, so
I find it fascinating that a lot of the good science fiction movies that withstood the test of time all sort of stemmed from Jodorowsky's Dune. Did you guys ever watch that documentary on that movie?
No,
that never got made.
I knew they tried making it and it failed spectacularly, and they just.
Bro,
but I've never seen. I've just read little bits and pieces about it.
You guys would love this documentary. It is not slow paced at all. But what it is Jodorowsky, this director. He's an amazing director. And he was going to make Dune, and I think he was going to make it with like the Disney company and all this other stuff. And they threw all this money at it. And this is before Alien. He had H.R. Geiger doing the designs for it.
That's right.
Stuff, I've seen the drawings.
All this stuff that basically that movie blew up like a Death Star. And you started seeing pieces of it in Alien, in Star Wars, in everything. It's insane. It's insane.
Epic though.
You ever think about what
It was
would
gonna be
happen
weird.
if the order of some of this stuff had just reversed, right? Because Dune came out, the David Lynch one came out what, like a year after Star Wars, I think.
84.
Okay, a year after Return of the Jedi then.
Yeah.
So those are kind of what would have happened if those movies had kind of flipped. What if we'd really gotten that Dune before we got Star Wars? Would that have changed
I'll be
of
honest
stuff?
with you. I'm not 100% sure it would have made as big of an effect as we're thinking, because what Lucas took so much from everybody, and he was unabashed about it. He borrowed so much from every universe he was in love with, that I think Star Wars, no matter what preceded it or what followed it, would have had the same impact, because it just...
Well, yeah, I think for two reasons. One, the cultural significance of just that hero's journey needing to be told, because that really hadn't happened in the film media. I mean, it had, but not like as a sci-fi epic. Here's the journey, man. Big, long, epically planned out. I think that's probably the first time that had happened. And
well, I think a lot of us Gen Xers had a lot of whiny bitch Luke in us that we had to grow out of.
Yeah, but also we
related to
related to it, but also the merchandising that came with it.
Yeah,
I think made it so inarguably present in your life. Even if your parents didn't take you to see the movie, you were playing with the toys with other friends or kids or whatever. Like, you were kind of inescapable. It was an inescapable thing. It's like when one of these pop songs ends up on the grocery store radio, and you're just like, "Fuck, I'm being ear raped. How is this happening?"
And they couldn't make the merch fast enough for that stuff too. Like they were like, "Sorry,
ran out.
A paper version of your toy. It'll
come
in
but they didn't. They weren't even trying. They were just pumping shit. Walrus Man. They were just taking animal heads and putting them on human bodies and shoving them out. They're just, all right, quick, make one for the screen now. It was. I think by the time they got to Jedi, they had to put Muppets in the movie because they were determined to make Muppet toys. And that's the...
I think you're right. I think you're... God, my cousin had that I had an older cousin, and he had that Millennium Falcon with the little figures and everything. And he wouldn't let me... We'd hang out at his house, and he wouldn't let me touch it. He wouldn't let me...
I wouldn't let you touch it. If I had one here, I wouldn't let you touch it now.
So every time he walked out of the room, I'd just push it over. Like,
oh, you're an asshole. No. That's the Falcon, man.
I hid Darth Vader from him for like our moms got involved in finding it.
That's sacred stuff, man. That'd be like if somebody came over and fucked with your woodworking tools or something. That's like no.
I remember the toy I was the most jealous of. I remember going to a kid's house, and he had a bank that was the plant from Little Shop of Horrors, and I thought it was the coolest fucking thing. And I'd never seen it in the world anywhere except for this kid's house. I'm like, where did you get that? Like,
we'll buy you toys, but only from musicals. Kids, grandkids now have all the Hamilton play set.
Glee.
Oh my God. Yeah, man. Dune. Fucking phenomenal. Yeah, I think
I'm gonna
give me more.
It's been a while since something hooked me like that. Like that really got me, and I was like, God damn, I did not want to like this, but it is spectacular, man.
I remember reading that they wanted to do a mini series about something of it, or the Bene Gesserits or something. And I remember watching. I was like, who's want to watch that? And I watched this movie. I'm like, got it. Yeah, I'd be down for sure.
You would,
it'd be another Game of Thrones.
This is a super, to me, what I thought was an unthreadable needle, right? Like, it's too long of a story to do in a movie, which is my biggest critique of the David Lynch version, aside from every other part of the David Lynch version. And then the other, but it also doesn't necessarily need to be dragged out into 10 episodes, right? You could make this a 10-hour story, but I feel like this is probably a 6-hour story. And you could then make the argument that why not tell it in 6 episodes as a mini series? But I like, and even in the chat they're disagreeing, but I like where they chose to take the break. It was to front load with all the Fremen stuff and to walk us to the edge of That I
Yes.
think it's a really good place to put a pin.
I agree, because next up is revolution and war.
Yes.
Next up is your name, the killing word. Next up is him coming to power and coming into himself with Johnny helping him. It's I'm fucking, and I feel like I've seen that girl that plays Johnny in something else, but I don't keep up with actors. She's freaking incredible. She was an incredible casting choice as well.
She's in Spider-Man. She's MJ.
Oh shit. Okay. I knew I recognized her. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then before that, she was
her.
like Mickey Mouse Club or some shit. She's like a musician. She's in everything though. She's in I'm not even doing her justice by giving her.
Well, I'm 100% on board for her as Johnny. It was it felt so right.
It's
from the
gonna
first
be
time you saw her when she pulled her mask off, I was like, yes, I'm here for this.
I just can't think of, you'd have had to have taken 2 other breaks prior to this, and I don't know how you really lay that story out. I think you'd have to reimagine it entirely, and the way they're doing it right now is just, it's beautifully paced. It's a really well done, just from a storytelling perspective purely, it's really well paced.
Yes.
I remember loving. Sorry.
No, go for it.
No, I remember just loving reading the book. As far as I got, I remember loving the part with Paul and his mom escaping when they were on that when they were on the thropter or whatever, and you know, using the voice and him having to figure out how to use the voice. I mean, that scene alone, it was just. I mean, that's just magic, bro. Like that. I thought it was a perfect. That was just great.
My other criticism, I will tell you, and it's just a very small, stupid thing.
I want criticism. We're gushing on this thing too hard.
The Gom Jabbar scene. I didn't buy any of that. That didn't feel scary to me. It didn't feel like that. The first one was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen in my life, where he puts his hand in the box and unimaginable pain. But this Paul just kind of sits here with a grimace on his face, like, yeah, my hand's burning off at the stump, but I'm a tough motherfucker. No, you're not. You're a little rich kid. You're not there yet. You're not Paul yet. Come on, man.
But again, it's because of the way they tell the story from a different point of view. I needed to see him step. That's a moment I needed him to step up, because he didn't start up here for me. He started down here. He's part of this house that's part of, about to take over this planet. I don't know what's going, I can't allow, I'm not letting myself cheat because I know what's going to happen or I know where it's headed. Just watching it.
Gom Jabbar test, even throughout the book and everything. So he does step up, but show me some pain. Show me the unimaginable horrors that the late Reverend Queen Mother, whatever the fuck her name is
man. I think
she was not near terrifying enough for me.
Nah, that part did just kind of lay there. It's if you're gonna use that later, if you're gonna play on
Lynch's
later.
embrace of that scene was far more terrifying to me, and it felt more like the book in my mind.
I'll give you that.
I think so too. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that. Because I like to imagine that it was more than just.
It was like a quick aside.
Yeah, I like to imagine that it was more than just fire. Like I was imagining just like true pain.
Radiation,
you know what I mean? Like
they didn't even really make you feel like it was fire. It could have at least glowed like the inside of a toaster or something. It just kind of.
They flashed through one little scene where his hands like in flames and turn into ash, but it's so quick. It's like
so quick.
It's almost like the director put that scene there, like, people are gonna be pissed if I don't at least do this. Let me
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I gotta do this, but I don't want to waste a bunch of time on it. Here's Reverend Queen Mother. Here's the Gom Jabbar. It's going to stick in his neck. Let's get to the goddamn.
Well, they did though. They did they showed it through Lady Jessica though. They cut to her and they showed her in pain over the whole thing too, and it was.
Which made it less believable, because she's having a weird reaction. And you're like, you're a badass. What are you freaking out about? Settle down. There's nothing going on in there. Have you seen? She's holding a needle to his neck. And
his hand's hot.
We're vibrating his hands.
All right, I'll give you that.
As a Freddy Krueger fan, I just want to hear somebody do the voice and say the word bitch at some point. That would be fucking phenomenal. Give me the knife, bitch. That'd be fucking amazing. Also, we need to do whatever it takes. Denis Villeneuve, this guy, the director, needs to, at the very least, produce a goddamn Taika Waititi version of the Hitchhiker's trilogy. Like, it's time. Like, let's give us that now.
Is he the guy? Now. Is he also the guy that did the newest Blade Runner?
Yes.
Okay. Because it felt very. There was something that I just watched that a while back, and there felt something very.
He knows how to depict emptiness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is not a barrel of laughs.
No,
I think he needs a punch rider in there, a Carrie Fisher, somebody just to help him just a little bit. Like everything doesn't have to be bleak, dude. We can laugh at Drax. Let us laugh at Drax for a little bit.
What else did?
Let us laugh at Drax.
What else did he do? Has he done anything funny? He did something else that was popular, and I can't remember.
He did Arrival.
Arrival. That's the other one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
You haven't seen Arrival?
I don't even know what it's about.
It's
Jerry. I haven't seen it either. I know what it is. I haven't seen it. I need to watch it. We need to watch it.
This happens all the time. Slade goes, it's a movie. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, Arrival. So it's I can't remember. Is it Jodie Foster? I keep wanting to say it's not Jodie Foster.
No, that's Contact. Arrival is Amy Adams.
Amy Adams. They're all those blonde. I can't tell them apart. No matter 20 years apart. 20 years apart.
To me is
I can't tell.
Boring movies I've ever seen, but my wife's it's her favorite. It's one of her.
Okay,
favorites.
your wife will probably love Arrival. It's great. It's fantastic. It's based on a short story by Ted Chiang, I think is his last name. He did. He's a really, really, really good short story writer. That I read him like Philip K. Dick, but he's like a modern. He's still writing and alive and well. So it's based on one of his short stories, and I dig the shit out of it. It's like these aliens come, and she's responsible for figuring out how to communicate with them, and it's I thought it was super cool and philosophical and heady.
So it's fun. Contact too.
Yeah, like I said, your wife will love it.
Is Matthew McConaughey in it as well? That's a spiritual leader.
No.
Man, I saw somebody talking the other day about McConaughey and Johnny Knoxville redoing the Smokey and the Bandit series.
Really?
With McConaughey as the Bandit and Knoxville as Snowman. And originally, when they come up with the idea, they were going to have Burt Reynolds sit in for Jackie Gleason as an homage to the original flick. But now that we got to know Burt Reynolds, so I'm really hoping they pick John Goodman or maybe Tommy Lee Jones for the Jackie Gleason character.
I really wish they'd just write some new shit.
Yeah, same. But listen, that doesn't seem to be the order of the day.
Listen, we could do a whole episode about this, but I just fucking, I went to my white buddy's house, Del Cheeseman, and he showed me this wonderful movie.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive, and he showed me this fucking movie called. He showed me this movie called Tin Cup, and I think you should just put Kevin Costner in everything. This movie is perfect. It's a perfect fucking movie, bro.
I love Tin Cup.
It's a perfect fucking movie.
Tin Cup.
Tin Cup is so good. Okay, remember when you watched True Romance and how Clarence Worley is talking to an imaginary version of Elvis through the whole movie?
Is this the one where Will Smith is the caddy?
No, it's Cheech Marin is the caddy.
It's another ghost caddy?
No. Cheech Marin's alive. He's his caddy, his buddy, best friend, partner. Kevin Costner is this badass golfer who's just stuck out in West Texas running a golfing range. It's a good flick, man.
Okay.
It's a great fucking
and
movie.
Cheech is like, you should come back and play golf, bro. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. Come on, man. We should just. And then he's like, all right. And then now he's back.
It's pretty close. It's more, you should sober up, bro.
Or your kids.
Burnout at the beginning.
Or your kid.
It's a burnout hero's journey.
Yes. I don't throw this review out there often, but it is another Cool Hand Luke-esque movie to me. It's that good. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
like every
okay.
wait,
We're gonna part ways on the back end of this review.
As far as funny, I'm just saying it's a good movie. As a dude movie, it puts you in a good mood. If you have to watch Contact, you got to chase it with Tin Cup. That's all I'm saying. Does that make sense? If you're gonna watch,
Tin Cup is also a really good Colorado whiskey that I wish I had some of. Because taste this. I'll watch. I'm not watching Tin Cup. I don't think I've made it this far, and I thought Will Smith was in it. I think I'm just gonna hang my hat up.
Chase, do you like? I said, do you love? I'm trying to lead you on the question. Do you also like Costner's other crazy flicks that he made? Because those are my guilty pleasure. Waterworld.
Oh,
The Postman.
Waterworld. The Postman. Bro.
I just adore those stupid ass movies.
I think they're great.
And
here's
good,
the
clean
thing.
fun.
I thought they were great the whole time. And only like recently did I discover that he's like directing most of these movies. Like that's fucking amazing. Are you kidding me?
He was Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner was
because I really wanted Ford Lincoln Mercury as a name for the.
Oh god. Kevin Costner was Nicolas Cage before Nicolas Cage was.
Yeah, but a more yes, but in a much more regal, defined way. Nicolas Cage is off the rails. Nicolas Cage. Kevin Costner is Nicolas Cage that wanted his career.
Nicolas Cage never made a movie with Dane Cook.
Did Kevin Costner make a movie with Dane Cook?
Yeah, didn't they do? Wasn't it
Mr.
them?
Brooks?
Yes,
Brooks.
like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of. Or no, was it? One was a serial killer and one wanted to learn, or something. It was like a buddy cop killer movie.
Yeah, that's okay. Kevin Costner never made Ghost Rider, so fucking even.
Okay, yeah.
Also, Nicolas Cage made a movie with Hannah Gutierrez, whatever the fuck her name was. The armorer that she gave a gun to like a kid or whatever. The one. Anyway.
Oh, he made it. He made it out. That's good on him. He's a survivor.
He made it out, bro. He survived it out. You know, Nicolas Cage is my dude, bro. I love all those dudes. They're all fucking great. They're all great.
Don't get me wrong. I hope Marvel tries Ghost Rider again, but
he just needs to drink.
Nobody allowed on the first one was allowed to touch the second one.
All I'm saying is that second Ghost Rider movie wasn't that bad. I mean, am I the only one that didn't hate the one with Idris Elba? That was the second one with Nicolas Cage. That movie was kind of cool.
They made a second
movie. They made a second one.
No. This is a repressed.
The second one was from the directors of Crank.
Yeah.
And it looked like it.
And it looked like something they just decided to do after they were done filming Crank.
Yes. Yes,
like something they decided to.
Ghost Rider movie.
Something they got time left on these rented cameras and lights. Let's shoot something else.
Did after doing Crank. That was a.
I remember I read some story that Nicolas Cage like rode his motorcycle up and down the street doing wheelies and shit.
I'm a method actor. Yeah, light your head on fire. He turned Johnny Blaze into a jelly bean eating. Dude's supposed to be an alcohol. He's supposed to be not drunk, but he drinks all the time. You can't sober.
He's Evil Knievel.
Johnny Blaze up.
He's this dirty, bad dude. There's a reason he gets set on fire. You know?
Yeah.
Listen, as a guy who's never really been an alcoholic, but who does have fighting a sugar addiction, I can relate to this jelly bean guy a little bit more.
You ever wake up and reach with a trembling hand for your nightstand to grab a fucking jelly bean?
That's also
or a Reese's cup.
That's also not the thing you can't change one of the character's core tenets. That's not something you can't impose your own phobias or your own vices and change it. That's like this, you having arachnophobia, so making Spider-Man Roachman. You can't do that. Well, I thought it made a better impact. It was making the impact I was trying to make.
People don't set you on fire and do interventions for sugar.
It
takes alcoholism, molestation, serious flaws.
Oh, plus, if you do that to somebody over sugar, it turns into caramel.
You eat another fucking Skittles, you're going to hell. Yeah.
That's so funny.
I am fucked.
I got you. They say the sugar high is real. I agree.
Listen, lots of people have gotten molested because sugar was dangled in front of them. All right, Jerry.
Fair. It does have sinister ties.
Get in the van.
Now we're going back to the first Dune. Let's talk about that.
The Sting character.
Sting, you want this candy bar?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, so was Batista fade? Is that what happened?
Yeah, Batista is fade now, and the other guy's just not there.
Yeah, just removed. And why is it so?
Yeah, I think it played better. That's the criticism I will widely drop on the Dune. I know you don't love it for a number of reasons, but
it's just that everything's wrong with it. Go ahead.
Yeah. The Harkonnens are cartoon characters in the Lynch version. They're from Sting to Baldy Fatty to fucking the scene where the doctor's, oh, your skin is so lovely while he's picking apart pustules. It's like, this is fucking dumb.
Yes. Those were the moments where I got what he was doing, but if you're trying to rope me in as a fan, that's just the wrong way to get into my head at that age, right? Like maybe if I'd found it at a different, it was like, no, Star Wars is rewarding me with pretty visuals and
I get you.
Yeah, that was it.
I get you. You know what? I watched Dune after I loved Ren and Stimpy, so I was cool with it. You know what I mean? I was like, cool, gross shit, boogers. Yes, let's go, bro. Ernest Scared Stupid all day. Let's go, bro.
I'm back. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go.
How about a bumper sandwich, booger lips? Like, yeah, bro.
Fucking Jim
that
Varney.
shit was a fucking Garbage Pail Kids card the whole time. That's what the David Lynch one was. So I appreciate
Baron
that.
Harkonnen is a Garbage Pail Kid.
Yes.
It was so bad. That's the part I do not like about the first flick. That's the part that really, I'll take the Ganja bar scene over the second one. Because that shit is scary as fuck.
Yeah,
you're gonna make me go back and I'm gonna go back and watch that first one again now, or try to, or something.
But
I'm gonna
when you reread the book, play that soundtrack and you see what I'm talking about. That's all.
Maybe I'll do that.
It holds up. That soundtrack works for any sci-fi book.
Go find a place in your house that still has wood paneling, and lay by the wood paneling and listen to this weird soundtrack.
And read the book.
And take yourself to Chase's childhood home.
Tangerine Dreams, baby.
They did the soundtrack to Legend. Did they do the one to
I don't know. I think Vandal. I don't remember.
Vangelis. No, that was
I don't remember. Yeah. I don't remember.
Blade Runner was Vangelis, and Tangerine Dream was Legend. Yeah, Legend was Tangerine Dream. Anyway.
By the way, best devil. When I picture they should just drop the mic at the devil. Nobody's only Legend and South Park got the devil right.
Dave Grohl came pretty close.
You're right.
Close.
Yeah, you're right.
But his look like theirs.
His look like theirs. Right. That's the one we want to see.
Dave Grohl was rock and roll legend devil. It was.
Yeah, there should be no others. What else before we get out of here?
I think we're good for this one. Let's talk about Venom next time, because that'll take up a whole another hour for sure.
Yes. Plus I gotta watch it. So
yeah.
And we have the Eternals coming out. We got some stuff to get to.
Yeah, or let's just do Venom.
That comes in. I want to do Venom. I'm in. I gotta go watch it, but I'm
not doing Eternals until you do Venom. So no.
I agree. Maybe I'll go watch
way more fucks about Venom.
Maybe I'll go watch them back to back.
This is holding you hostage.
Look, I'm in. I'll go watch them back to back. I'm gonna hold Venom hostage till the Eternals comes out, and then I'm gonna sneak into both.
Nice.
That's perfect, man. Well, thank y'all. In the there's another Dune version, TV version with James McAvoy. What?
Yeah, it's like a mini series that came out in the early 90s, maybe mid 90s. It's bad. It's not good.
We acted like it didn't even exist for a whole hour.
It pretty much doesn't. It shouldn't.
They made
James
a couple of them.
McAvoy?
I think they made Dune. I think Children of Dune also, right? They made
Yeah.
Children of Dune. Yeah. I remember that.
And then Children of a Lesser Dune. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
fuck.
strong. That's strong. All right, I don't think anybody can anybody beat that.
I'm good.